It really bothers me. It really, really pisses me off. When fighters act like they're completely oblivious to the reality of the politics in boxing. Right? It's one of my biggest pet peeves with this damn sport. I don't want to curse too much, just cause, whatever. It's so annoying. The most recent example I can think of, and there's a few, actually, I'll point them all out. But the reason this occurred to me is because I'm just reading. I'm going down the boxing news feed, so to speak, whatever, on ESPN, ESPN.com. And both Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton, who are having a fight, I think that's this weekend. I don't even know. I think it's this weekend. It's going to be a great fight, I think. It's a very intriguing fight. It's so intriguing that I should be talking just about the fight, but I'm not talking about just the fight, because both these fools are so predictable and doing the same bullcrap but anyway, I'll get to it. Both of them, right? This is what the article on ESPN says. Both of them. Both came out and said that they think they have what it takes to beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. Wasn't that interesting? Though neither of them are fighting Guillermo Rigondeaux. And it's not like his name has never been brought up to either of them, right? I know for sure Rigondeaux has been mentioned to Scott Quigg, and he balked. Balked when they mentioned Rigondeaux's name. Alright? Like Cotto balked when Kellerman mentioned Golovkin before he fought Canelo. When he beat Gil. Remember, then Max Kellerman brings up Golovkin, he's like, and then he responded after that. That's the way Quigg balked when they brought up Rigondeaux. They said maybe instead of he like laughed and then said some nonsense. My dog's like in the way over here, sorry about that. So, you know, he balked on that. Quigg, I'm sure, that is Quigg. Frampton, I'm sure, has also, you know, Rigondeaux's been brought to his attention before too, I'm sure. And I haven't heard him say really anything about Rigondeaux. You know, but now that they're fighting each other, they're going to say that they think they have what it takes to beat Rigondeaux, and, you know, they're not scared of him. And they're going to say this even though Eddie Hearn, Quigg's promoter, and I like Eddie Hearn, so this is not anything against him. Okay? I mean, I guess I could hold it against him, but I'm not, because I do like Hearn. But Hearn says that instead of Frampton fighting Rigondeaux if he wins, who would be the mandatory, that it's very possible that they'll just do a rematch, Frampton and Quigg, instead of having his man face Rigondeaux. Yeah, I bet they will. I'm so sure that they'll do that. You're gonna be hard pressed to convince me that either of these guys, regardless of the outcome of this fight, who wins or if it's a draw, is gonna fight Guillermo Rigondeaux afterwards, or Rigondeaux, whatever, however he wants people to say it now. But, you know, because they know about the politics, and they know that it's very possible that there could be a rematch after, oh, now all of a sudden we want to fight Rigondeaux. We have what it takes to beat him. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. I'll give you more examples of this nonsense. Erislan Lara calling out Gennady Golovkin, as if no politics exist that wouldn't allow this fight to happen. Lara is straight PBC. When was the last time we saw a PBC fight somebody, one, not on PBC, and two, who wasn't also a PBC fighter? Maybe you've gotten a couple, but no, like, big stars, right? Like Chris Algieri, I guess, is more of a freelance. He's fought his last fight on PBC with Khan. But, you know, he's, I think it was PBC. Yeah, it was PBC. But maybe, you know, if HBO wanted him, they would, you know, use him, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind fighting on HBO. But, like, who's the last big star that PBC does not have who fought on PBC or fought against a PBC opponent that wasn't a PBC matchup? Right? And people gobble this up. That's what doesn't get me out. The people gobble up like, oh yeah, Golovkin, you know, Lada's been calling him out and he's ducking. How are they going to make that fight? Golovkin, we've known since he's gone HBO, has been all HBO. HBO ain't going to let go of him. HBO ain't letting him go anywhere. So, if you know he ain't going anywhere, you have to come to HBO to fight him. But you know you're PBC. Erislan Lara, whom I like. You know you're PBC, so you know that fight's not going to happen. But he calls him out. People bow into it. Oh, yeah, he really wants to fight him. He really wants to fight Golovkin. Golovkin's scared a lot. He doesn't want that word. Da, 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 da. But ain't no way that fight's going to happen. Right? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of these fighters, you know, just talking all types of nonsense, but they're not making any moves to get in the ring with the fighters they're talking about. Because you can call out whoever you want. You want to prove that you want to fight a fighter, send them a contract. Call them out all you want. Yeah, okay, fine. But until you're sending a contract, those are just words. You're not fooling anybody. Well, apparently you are fooling some people, but come on now. Come on now. If you want to fight somebody, make them a deal. Enter negotiations. But apparently boxing fans will eat up the call-outs. So as long as you're doing that, oh yeah, he wants to fight him. The X, you know, fighter X wants to fight fighter Y, so fighter Y is scared because he ain't saying anything. It's ridiculous. Floyd Mayweather talking about Golovkin's easy work. I don't want to hear that. Unless you're coming back to fight him and the contract signed, I don't want to hear you talking about another fighter's easy work whom you could face. And I know people are like, oh, but Floyd's so small. Floyd, if he wanted to, could go up to 160. Because he wouldn't have to make 160. Right? We don't know how much he weighed in the Pacquiao fight. Remember, he didn't want to give us the unofficial weigh-in the day of the fight. So he was probably like 156 pounds, maybe even more, like maybe 157, 158. He was probably near the middleweight limit. So I would agree that he's the much smaller man than Golovkin. I'm not disputing that by any means. But if he really wanted the fight to happen, if he really feels the fight is easy work, he could make that fight happen. He's Floyd Mayweather. Ain't nobody preventing that fight. Nobody. Golovkin's people would eat it up. It would sell. It would sell probably close to Canelo numbers. Not that Golovkin has his star power, but the threat of Golovkin. He would be perceived, and rightfully so, as a bigger threat than Canelo was. So that fight could sell. But Floyd, no, he doesn't have any interest in that. He just want to talk about how it's easy work. But you ain't going to get in the ring. Unless you're getting in the ring with the person, I don't want to hear it. I really don't. And unless it's a legitimate possibility that you could get in the ring with the person. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Kovalev and Stevenson need to end this nonsense. They really do. There's no way them dudes are fighting each other. It's the same situation. HBO, PBC, they both need to cut it out. Alright, the Adonis Chickenson thing was entertaining. I'll give you that, especially since he started making duck noises after. That was hilarious. But that fight's not happening, so these two need to move on. And boxing fans, we need to move on too. Because them two ain't fighting. It's not happening. And to be quite frank, I think Andre Ward's a more compelling matchup for Kovalev anyway. But I don't know, I don't get why people don't see through this and how they're not sick of it. And maybe they are, and I'm just not seeing them on social media, or whatever the case is. But these fighters who are, trust me, these fighters are aware of the politics in boxing. We're aware of it, and we're fans. You think they aren't? Get the hell out of here. They're not that naive. They're fully aware of the politics. They're fully aware of who's a logical, reasonable, viable opponent based on the politics and who ain't. They know. So don't buy into this nonsense when they're calling out somebody who you know is not a real possibility. If Fighter One's on HBO and he's calling out a PBC guy, he's whack. He's not going to fight that PBC guy. If it's a PBC guy calling out an HBO guy, that's whack. They ain't going to fight. They ain't going to make the fight. Now, if a significant fight gets made, right, a significant PBC fighter matched against a significant HBO fighter, then I'll concede you got me. Alright? But that hasn't happened. Because I know Khan's fighting Canelo now, but I don't think Khan's with Heyman anymore. I'm pretty sure he moved out of there. So now he's able to fight Canelo and make that matchup. But as far as I know, his PBC days are done. So when a PBC big shot, right, one of the big guns, Danny Garcia, a Thurman or a Porter, you know, whomever, a Broner. Although Broner's probably a little bit more realistic because he's been fighting more on Showtime than the main PBC channels. But when they fight an HBO guy, Again. And I don't mean someone who's fought on HBO like a Mauricio Herrera who can bounce between. I'm talking about an HBO house name, like a Golovkin. Right? In their weight class, though. Obviously not Golovkin fighting Thurman or Porter. But in their weight class. Until that happens, then I'll concede that this video is false. Right? That I was proven wrong. And maybe I'll ease up on my stance on these fighters calling out other fighters if they're unaware of the politics. But they're not unaware of the politics. So when they're calling out dudes whom they know they can't fight, that's whack and it should be treated as such. See through the smoke and mirrors, man. Come on, use your brain. Alright? Lara's not even the same weight class as Golovkin. He's calling him out. So, different weight class. Right? That's the one thing. Different promoters, different networks, but that fight's realistic. Come on. Quigg and Frampton wanted nothing to do with Rigo, but now that they have the fight signed and there's that possibility of a rematch, oh, now they want to fight Rigo and they think they can beat him. Oh, wow, isn't that convenient? It's ridiculous. These fighters don't get any pass from me for that crap, man. Forget that.